Well, welcome to Cover 2 TV. We're here to give you Steve's top 5 draft prospects, non-QBs. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, mate.
Yeah.
Who have you got at number 5?
Number 5, I've got Denzel Ward, cornerback from Ohio State. What's interesting about this draft, I think, I've done a top 5 non-QBs. Obviously, last week we did the QBs at Geno. To be honest, this might be the top 5 anyway of players. I think Sam Darnold might sneak in at the bottom, but these are I think the 5 really, really good prospects. So. And there was...
Are you talking on talent, Steve?
Yeah.
These are the best 5,
yeah,
but because there are so many quarterback needy teams.
Exactly, and the need of the position and stuff. Like, there's going to be some positions in here which aren't glamorous and stuff. Now, obviously, cornerback is with Ward, but I think it's a really strong draft class, and that the quarterback need, there's 5 quarterbacks who are probably going to go in the top 15. That's going to push some good players down. So, like, some of these guys might be number 5 on my list, and he might fall to, like, 10 to 12 range, where someone like a Tampa Bay or an Indianapolis or a Chicago, because all the quarterback needy teams are going to they're going to get a really good player, between 6 and 12. So I think it's going to be a good draft for those type of teams.
So what do you think, looking at Ward and analysing his game, what do you think his strengths are?
Athleticism, he's an elite athlete. His athleticism's off the chart, and that's kind of what saves him, because I know we'll get to weakness, he's a little bit undersized, but for example, it's as basic as he's a really good jumper, for example, and he gets up, he's got good spring, he's fluid. I've got his speed, he maintains his speed, long speed, so he won't lose you on a go route, for example. He'll be man to man all the way, where obviously a lot of cornerbacks just cannot keep up with quick wide receivers. He can. His long speed's really good.
He's supposed to be good at changing speed and matching speed as well.
Well, my next thing, he's like a mirror almost. He'll copy you, and he reacts quickly to what you do. So when you cut, he cuts, that kind of thing. He's a really, he backpedals, he's following you all the way. He's really, really talented. I think he's a really good player. And, Ohio State have had a history recently of producing really good secondary players, and I think he's as good as most of them.
So any more sense, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, well, the only other thing I've got down here is, he's really good at batting passes. Again, he is quite short, so he doesn't always get his hands on.
Is he a bit of a ball hawk?
Yeah, but he
short arms, so maybe struggles against big wide receivers.
And
is that fair?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the weakness I've got around there. He's quite undersized, so if you play man coverage where you want your wide receivers to jam at the line, Darrell Reeves used to do it, for example. He was a bit undersized, but he was really, really strong. So he would jam you at the line, and he'd almost end your run before you'd started it. Seattle's corners have been doing that for a while. He's probably not going to do that. So if you try and get him to jam a big physical guy at the line, he'll probably lose that battle. So you want him maybe a little bit more in zone, a bit more where he can, have a few yards off. And then, like I say, I could see him matching up against the quicker, shiftier type wide receivers. He could probably get into the slot if he needed to, that kind of thing. The only other strength we've got is his footwork's amazing. He's so light on his feet, it's ridiculous. He's just a really, really athletic, and I suppose in the NFL now, as wide receivers get more quick, more athletic, more twitchy, your cornerbacks are starting to go that way, and he reminds me of that. That's what he is.
I think, for me, and maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong on this, cornerback, I think, has got to be the most talented person. I think safety's probably guys who don't quite have the talent to do cornerback anymore because of that elite speed that you're seeing at wide receiver and the big size wide receivers as well. So if you are a cornerback in the NFL, you are probably the most talented guy that essentially can't play offense.
Absolutely. They could catch you, be a receiver. If you can't, you go and play corner. And they have to be so athletic because it's so reactionary. A wide receiver knows his route, as he's at the line. The corner's got to diagnose it and read it well, and that's what I like about him, is that his reactions, it's like he knows the route, so he goes and he's very quick at following them. So
what type of routes would you expect him to do really well in?
He's not going to, listen, you don't want him to be going up contesting balls with DeAndre Hopkins or Julio Jones, Alshon Jeffrey. You don't want him in those routes. I think what he's really good at, if you've got someone like Emmanuel Sanders runs that route where he goes down and then he cuts on a dime and goes left, almost like a post route. I think he'll be fine at that kind of thing, because he keeps his back pedal going a long time. You know what I mean? Where some corners let you get up to them and he can go backwards for a long time. So anything down the field, I think he'll do well at. Again, his issue will be if anything does cut in front of him, is he physically strong enough to get in front of the receivers and get to the ball? But I think he's going to be a really good player.
Any other weaknesses for him?
Yeah, like I say, you've got to say the size, and it's a basic that he's slight. He's slight of frame, which doesn't always bode well in the NFL, you know what I mean? There's going to be some teams where they just say, he's 5'10", he doesn't weigh enough, he's off our board. Our corners must be 6 foot plus, or they must be something. Some teams, Seattle for example, I can't see him going to Seattle in a million years, but I could see him going somewhere like, we've seen Tampa Bay draft smaller receivers, smaller cornerbacks for example. Now if he goes there, they're going to have a really small cornerback trio because they're undersized, but that's the only issue, that's the really.
Do you think he has to be paired with a big rusher unit, like big defensive ends who can get at the quarterback? Do you think that'll help him out?
Yeah, if you've got someone who can play it, and if you're going to play a lot of zone, I think you want to be someone who plays a lot of zone. I don't think you want him jamming wide receivers at the line. I think you're not playing to his skill set at all. You want to be someone who runs a decent zone defense. And if he has to play man, you probably want him on wide receiver 2s and 3s, not on the big guys. So if you've got someone who can do that job, and then let him go and mark the smaller guys.
Well, what about a pro comparison?
I've got Chris Harris Jr., who's, you know, he's an elite cornerback in the league, isn't he? People kind of forget about him in this discussion when they talk about the best. Chris Harris is really, really good. And listen, he can just wander into the slot. He just walks into the slot and he's like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm a slot cornerback now. Oh no, you've got me on the outside, great, I'm fine here as well. He tends to go after the little shiftier guys. It was a key to lead for a while in Denver who dealt with the physical corner. So I think, you know, slightly undersized, but just elite athlete like Chris Harris was. And Chris Harris was undrafted. He's not going to be he's going to be a top 10 pick for sure.
Top 10 pick. Okay. Well, we'll move it on then. Who have you got at number 4?
I've gone for Bradley Chubb, from the defensive end from North Carolina State. Pass rush in this draft I've been doing when I've been doing my work. It isn't a great draft, to be honest. There's not much of them. The NFL, you know, great pass rushers don't hit free agency. So the demand for them is going to be really, really high. Hence why I wouldn't be shocked if Bradley Chubb's the first non-quarterback taken. Okay. He's a really good player. Some people would have him higher than 4, and I understand that. Like I say, in terms of what he does, he just does everything well. So he's a big guy, he's long, he's athletic, he's fundamentally quite sound. He just reminds me like someone who you just plug in and go, yeah, sound. You're not going to have many issues with him. You're not gambling. You know, he's an elite athlete, but he doesn't do this well, he doesn't do that well. He's quite technically sound as well. So it's just, if he adjusts like he's adjusted to college, he'll be fine. I
think one of the things that people speak about when they speak about Bradley Chubb is the fact that he doesn't give up on plays either. Yeah,
absolutely. So you get some passes when the ball goes to the other side, or it's been 5 seconds into the quarterback's, you know, he's holding it for so long, they can't just get knackered and give it up. He definitely doesn't. You know, he plays and plays and plays, and you might see him. That endeavour often gets him into the quarterback. You know, especially against college offensive linemen who aren't great, they can't hold him for 4 or 5 seconds. You know, I mean, it's impossible.
What about weaknesses then, Steve?
Again, he plays a bit tall at times. You know, if you watch someone like Von Miller who bends around the edge, he makes himself so elusive.
You're talking about who the guys at the Colts a few years back, Freeney, and who was the other guy? I forget, but they used to go at like a 40-degree angle as they bend around the corner. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he's quite tall, so a lot of times offensive linemen can get 2 hands on him. And in college, it didn't really bother him because he kind of just swatted them away because he was just too good for them. If you let a good NFL tackle, left tackle, right tackle, get both hands up on you as you're up, they're going to push you back. You're not going to get there. He probably needs to bend a bit more because he's just so upright. And I think that is just because he was just too good for those offensive linemen. Most offensive linemen in college, he didn't need to be that refined with that kind of thing
because his athleticism.
Exactly. But I don't think it's something that it'll affect him. He can still play well, and it's only at times where he stands up, he can get low. I think if he just constantly play with a lower pad level, he'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. Like I say, I would worry that.
Are you worried about tackles getting under him and being able to sort of, I don't know the right terminology for it,
just like ball rushing backwards, almost backwards. Yeah, exactly. And even you know, if you let I don't know, and elite, say for example, Green Packers, David Bakhtiari is a good left tackle. If you let him get both his hands on your chest, you're probably not going to. He's going to push you.
And
away.
If they're lower, than
exactly, exactly. The leverage is there. And they might not stop you, but he can dive it. They can push you off. They can push you so far out your lanes that the quarterback just sees you've gone and can just step through. So that's something he needs to work on. And in terms of speed, he doesn't have elite pass rusher speed. So I always think that the gold standard of pass rush is Von Miller. He's absolutely perfect. He's the best I've seen for a long, long time. He bends well and he's super, super quick. Chubb isn't that fast, you know what I mean? He wins more with his power and his strength, and he's quick enough but he's not elite speed, so that's probably the two things that you're probably knocking for.
Is he quick off the mark? Can he make up for that in any way? Or?
Yeah, like I say, he is. That's probably how he does it. He's not quick if you look at his times and stuff, but he reads the snap while he gets off the ball, while he's out of his break. Well, and that's kind of how he won in college, to be honest. I just like to see him against the NFL tackles. He's probably going to have to do a little bit of refining on. And it's very rare, you know, like, pass rushes don't always come in from day one and just light it up. There is a learning curve for him, and I think he will have that. But I think whoever gets him is going to have, you know, a very, very high level tackle, or a defensive end pass rusher. Before
we move on to the pro comparison then, right now, it's a very difficult question, Steve. You got Bradley Chubb. Where do you see him in 5-10 years' time? Are we talking multiple Pro Bowls? Are we talking All-Pro?
Yeah, listen, I don't think he's ever going to be... He's not Von Miller. He's not like elite that level. But he's very, very good. Say someone like a Justin Houston, who's amazing. You know what I mean? When he's playing, obviously he plays a bit deeper. Sometimes plays a bit of linebacker. You don't really want Bradley Chubb doing that, but he could be excellent. There's no denying that. There's a lot of good pass rushers in the league. Maybe Melvin Ingram, that type of level, where you'd be happy taking a Melvin Ingram in the top 10 now if you had him. I don't think he's ever going to be the cream of the crop kind of thing, but he'll be very, very effective for a good team.
Okay, and then pro comparison?
I went for Cam Jordan from from the New Orleans Saints in that. It's mainly because the size, he's almost the exact... You look at him, and it's, you know, they both have helmets on, you can't really tell the difference. Like, built the exact same way. Jordan's a bit quicker. I think has got a bit more speed to him, but in terms of his build and how he plays, and sometimes Cam Jordan gets a bit tall as well, and that's probably what's down. You know, he's really, really, really good. That's probably what keeps him away.
That's the thing. You always feel like when you're talking about draft prospects and stuff, everyone always does a SWOT analysis, don't they? So they look at the strengths and the weaknesses. Yeah. And you feel like sometimes you're nitpicking on weaknesses, but they are there, but they might not be huge weaknesses and they can be overcome.
You're not going to... Any player, no player in the world is going to want to come out of college and just be the best player. You know, it's very rare. You know, even the number one picks from all time, very, very rare. They just walk in day one and great. Peyton Manning kept throwing the ball to the other team in his first year. He's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. You know, it just doesn't happen straight away. But Andrew Luck was the best prospect I've ever seen. There's arguments that he's throws too many interceptions. For example...
So have you got any experience with different stances and stuff playing college?
To be honest, he was just he is decent against everyone, but his job was just to go and get the quarterback. So, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing that gives me pause judging pass rushes in the NFL. Just offensive line playing college is dreadful. And you know, it's a lot of spread offense where they're not even half the man even trying to block him. So that's the thing. But from what you see, you can tell that he looks like he's going to be a good player.
And you think he'll be able to adjust to different stances?
Yeah, and again, as I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first non-quarterback taken, whether that's at the Giants at 2, the Colts at 6, or somewhere. I wouldn't be at all shocked because he's good.
Well, who's your number 3 prospect?
My number 3 prospect is Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's the safety from Alabama. I really, really like Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's the modern day NFL safety, I think now, the Swiss Army knife type safety who let you change your coverage or let you react to the changes that the offense make without having to substitute, because in the era of up tempo and like the likes of Tom Brady and who just move plays at the line so well, he lets you react to that. He's not going to be a mismatch if he has to.
So if he can. Could he be free safety, could be strong safety, or can he drop into nickel if needed?
Absolutely. I mean, he can play nickel. He can play nickel linebacker. He can play a little bit of high safety if he needs to. He's even done a bit of cornerback. He played corner for Alabama when they had a few injuries.
Why do you think he's not a cornerback? Do you think it's what we were talking about earlier on? Do you think it's the elite athleticism?
Yeah, I think he's more of a tackler than a cover guy as well. He isn't a great cover. He can cover well, but he's not. He's not going to be covering that. And Alabama are really good corners, which helps. But when they were injured, he did go out there. And again, I don't want to go... His weakness really is that, which will kill you at cornerback, you can kind of get away with the safety, is that he's a little bit impulsive at times. You know, he'll go and jump that route. Now, Marcus Peters does this at cornerback, for example. He'll get burned 4 times, but then he'll pick the 5th one off. Fitzpatrick is kind of that. As a safety, he's a bit impulsive, and a bit impatient, if that makes sense. But I think he's a safety because of just his range as well. He can go sideline to sideline, and like say, if he needs to go and play nickel linebacker, if he needs to play high, you just move in.
What's his footwork and his speed like?
His speed's amazing. You know, that's probably what he's good at. His acceleration's what's key. He's 0 to top speed in like a blink of an eye. He doesn't like have to work through the gears. He's just there very, very quickly. And that's probably in fact that's probably his main attribute is that it, and that's what makes him so rangy. If he diagnoses where the players, he gets there fast because his acceleration's like off the charts.
Okay, well, I'm starting to think of a few guys as you've been talking that you've kind of reminded me of.
Okay.
Who's your pro comparison? I'm already thinking Harrison Smith, but maybe that's a little bit too much of a leap.
No, I think I understand that one. I've gone for Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, just because of the versatility. You know, Honey Badger can do 5 or 6 different things. He can play corner, he can play safety, he can go and do a bit of linebacker as well. And also, he's one who, and one of the weaknesses is that sometimes if he is playing coverage, he gets separated from him a little bit too easy, and I think Honey Badger can be guilty of that at times as well. He's an excellent blitzer. It comes from the acceleration. You don't know he's coming, and then he's there, kind of thing. And again, I think Tyrann Mathieu, when he was fully fit, was an amazing blitzer. You know, he was getting sacks on quarterbacks, which is very, very rare for the safeties to be getting that many sacks. And also, again, he's a ball hawk. So 9 interceptions in college. I think 4 pick sixes. He's got that ball hawk thing about him. I think Smith's another good one.
It sounds to me like he's looking to be a difference maker on defence.
Yeah.
Is he one of those guys that is not only a difference maker on the field, but do you think he has an effect on the locker room as well?
Yeah, apparently it's hard to judge, but apparently all the talk about him is that there's no issues with him. You know, and Alabama's a very disciplined locker room anyway. They've got a really, really strong head coach. He's from the Belichick tree. Don't take no shit, basically. You know what I mean? So it's hard to be too over the top in that locker room, but by all accounts he is, and he just allows you to do so many things. If he's on the field, you can disguise your coverages more. I think the way that offenses now work, that they're trying, and we've spoken about this before, is that Tom Brady will literally send his running back out and back again, just to see if it's man or zone. Well, Minkah Fitzpatrick can disguise it so it can look like zone, but actually it's man, or it can look like it's not a blitz, but actually he's coming. That kind of thing. So I think that's
it's a bit of a chess piece. You can move around.
Exactly. I think that, and it's versatility and that kind of thing that makes him really, really valuable. And again, he's come from a good school who produced really, really good defensive players. I think he's going to be a really good player.
Okay, we've done the pro comparison. Then what are you thinking 5 years' time? Where is he? Is he, as I said before, is he all pro? Is he pro bowl?
He could be that good. I think. Listen, if Tyrann Mathieu hadn't got his injuries, he'd be regarded as one of the better, one of the top. There's a reason. It's the injuries that have really let him down. If he stays healthy, which you don't know, it can happen. I think you can be talking about him in the same mould as your Matthews, as your Smiths. That's a high level to play for anyone coming out of college. If you can reach those levels, you're going to make a lot of money and you're going to make a lot of time.
Okay, for your number 2 pick, Steve, you've picked a very unfashionable position.
Guard. Yeah, guard isn't. This is purely on talent, and listen, the one thing when I'm evaluating players and stuff, when I watch college football in general, I find even NFL football, analysing offensive lines difficult. I think it's nuanced, isn't it? You kind of don't know what the scheme is, you kind of don't know what the call was.
And it's so intrinsically linked to the rest of the line.
Yeah, exactly.
One person's performance might be really good, but if he's not quite in sync with the person next to him or the rest of the line, then it looks like a bad performance.
And Quentin Nelson, who we were talking about from Notre Dame, depending how you say it, he's played on a good line. They're going to have their tackle, McGlinchey, I think is pronounced, is going to be an NFL prospect. He's going to be in the first round probably as well, so he did play on a good line. I think sometimes it can be as obvious for me, and I might be tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, when in the run block, does he push them out the way? When he's stopping the pass rushes, does he stop people? If you can do that, I think you're good. No one gets past you, and if you can bulldoze people, and literally, if you go YouTube Quentin Nelson, not now, at the end of the show, don't click now. You'll see videos. Sometimes he looks like a wrestler. He's literally.
He's 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
He is absolutely huge, and he just picks people up and moves them, like literally body slams them, like Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan style, just throwing them on the floor. It's crazy, and again, I just think if you can do that kind of stuff, a running team will absolutely love him. Absolutely love him, because he's going to make holes for days. He's going to walk in. He's going to be the biggest guy on the team probably. He's absolutely massive. And all my strengths come from that. So it's big, powerful, aggressive, massive hands, brilliant. Fast, strong, massive hands, brilliant run blocker. That is just a perfect guard for me.
What's he like in pulling situations? Because we've seen the NFL move towards that. Well, yeah, Coughlin's been doing it for years, hasn't he? Yeah, so are you thinking maybe a Jags type of a...
I mean, he'd be amazing. He won't fall that far, but he'd be amazing if he could get down there. But I just think he's going to be someone who... What's him? I don't know, it's hard to describe, but from stands to getting his hands on you is like that. And he's so strong, and he literally, as he gets the guys, they go backwards. and not many guards can push a guy backwards. So he goes, and like we mentioned before, ball rushing, he just bulldozes through them. And again, it's college prospects, they might not be the greatest defensive players in the world, not massive like NFL, D tackles can be, so, good luck trying to push Ndamukong Suh backwards, for example. But he is so strong, it's ridiculous, he's just an absolute freak, and that's the only way you can describe him. And I just think whoever gets him is just going to be absolutely delighted with him.
Okay, what's his, what are his weaknesses thing?
He can get stuck on his block a bit long, especially run blocking, so he can just, he's too busy pushing the tackle out the way, or sorry,
enjoying the fact that he's beating the guy.
Basically enjoying the fact that I'm just well better than you. In the NFL, he needs to get off that and get to the linebacker, because NFL linebackers are just far, linebackers in general in college football aren't great. He needs to stop them.
Obviously, this is something that he will work on and that he can improve. Let's say he doesn't, let's say first year, is he big enough and his physical attributes big enough that he can stop a guy with an arm?
Yeah, he's so strong, he's so powerful. He just needs to learn to get off his blocks a bit quicker. So if you're on one, like I say, it looks great on the highlights when you run a guy backwards 10 yards, brilliant. But if there's a linebacker free, you need to diagnose that, and sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he just kind of thinks, well, this is the guy I'm stopping, I'll stop him.
I'm doing my job.
I've done my job.
You do more than that.
Exactly, I'll do my job, guys, you do yours. Well, that isn't always the case. The centre might be tied up with a really, say for example, it's Donald and Sue who are going to be a duo. Yeah. Well, Aaron Donald might be giving fits over there, so you need, if you've beaten
Have you seen that video of Donald training with the knives?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous.
What's that about?
Well, yeah. I don't know how you can literally justify it.
What are the insurance like, you know what I mean? They must be looking at it going, no, do not do this.
Yeah, how do you get them into the stadium? Who's bringing big knives? I hope they're plastic. I mean, I really do. I wouldn't want Aaron Donald getting stabbed. I just think, so against that kind of elite player, anyone will struggle. So whatever you can do, if you can do your job and then help your mate out, you need to be able to do it in the NFL. It's very rare that you can just, push that guy out the way and then I'm fine, I'm done.
That's it. So what about the pro comparison?
He reminds me of Marshall Yonder, and Marshall Yonder's probably the best guard of the last 10 years, or one of the best guards of the last 10 years. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, no question about it. Super Bowl winner, he's done everything, Marshall Yonder. Even now, as he advances, he's still really good. He reminds me of him. I was reading a few things about Nelson, again, just because I'm not always 100% sure on my evaluation of linemen, and there's talk that he was a better prospect than Zach Martin when he come out of the same school, and Zach Martin's probably the best guard in the league, you'd say, or one of. And, the scouts say that. Again, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's some high praise to go. It just happens to be that he's a guard. So, in the draft, how highly do you value guard? Would you rather get...
Depends what your team's up
to. Exactly. Really? Would you rather get an elite guard, or a very good corner, or a very good safety, or a very good receiver running back? Or can you actually think, you know what?
You've always, you personally, I think I'm right in saying, I've always been, just get the best guy.
Get your coaches as many good players as you can get, and then let them figure out. If you're, that's what for me, it's getting the best recipes and saying to the chef, yeah, I mean, make something out of that, rather than going nitpicking and then less quality. My philosophy is always, other than quarterback, I think you go and get a quarterback if you need one. I'm fine with that. Other than that, I do think just take the best player. And if they went best player, again, I don't think it'd be a huge shock if the Giants took him at 2, for example, because their offensive line's been absolute dog shit for so long. They might just think, you know what, for one position, for 10 years, let's just take this guy and then we'll work around it. But
do you think there's possible movement where they could maybe take 2 guys in the top 12 of the Giants if they do the right type of trades?
Yeah, I think there's talk that you could go down and up again. There's all kinds. I think Tennessee a couple of years ago went down and then went back up to get Jack Conklin. So, again, on the offensive lineman, albeit a tackle, they could do something like that. They could say, I wouldn't be surprised, for example, if they traded that with Buffalo, got 12 and 20, and then gave 20 back to someone to get up to 8 with a couple of seconds and stuff, and then end up with 8 and 12. That wouldn't be a huge shock, just off the top of my head. But I think he'll be there between 5 and 10, and I think someone's going to get a really top player. Okay,
I think anybody who obviously follows the NFL draft and who follows college football will probably know who you've picked as your top non-quarterback prospect, but Steve, I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State. Again, philosophies on running backs are different. Some people want to take them straight away. Some might say, look what you can get in the 3rd round. Kareem Hunt just won the rushing title. I understand that. But in terms of pure talent, I don't know how anyone can doubt this guy.
Generational talent?
He's the best running back I've seen in college. And I've been watching, I've seen Gurley, I've seen Elliott, I've seen Fournette. He's just, Kamara. As a prospect, whether he turns into that, he's been better than all of those. He's absolutely electric. He is unbelievable. He's just like the best player on the field every time he steps on the field. Do you know what I mean? He is just a supreme athlete, but his technique's amazing. He's so nuanced. It's like watching an NFL player play against college teams and against really good college teams at times as well, and he just runs through them like they're not there. He is absolutely unbelievable.
So what are his main strengths, do you would say?
His elusiveness for a start. So his cut and spin moves are just unbelievable. He's just like people don't get hands on him. They're like tackling ghosts at times. It's quite embarrassing for them. His long speed, again, you see this a lot in college football, to be fair, 40, 50-yard touchdowns. It doesn't happen in the NFL. It's very rare. You might see 1 or 2 a season, you know what I mean? He's not going to be breaking those type of runs, but he maintains his speed well. He's super light on his feet. His cuts, Shady McCoy-like, just on a dime, going that. He's a little bit bigger, but that kind of thing where he cuts so well. He's a 3-down back because he can catch. He isn't the best pass catcher you've ever seen, but he can do it. Where someone like a Leonard Fournette kind of struggles with that at times. He's all right, but he's not brilliant. Barkley can. Someone like Elliott does it, for example. He's like that kind of level. He isn't amazing at it, but he's more than capable.
He's serviceable, isn't he?
He's not
honest.
He's not Adrian Peterson where you've got to take him off on third down. Third and eight, Adrian Peterson isn't on the field because he can't block and can't catch. Barkley you can keep on the field and then it keeps defence.
What is his blocking like, Steve?
Pretty good. He's not brilliant, but he's fine. He's willing and he'll get in there.
I think that's sometimes the most interesting thing about when you see draft prospects and running backs and stuff is they might not be the best because they've generally not been asked to do a lot of it, but as long as they're willing to take those blocks on, they can learn, they can improve, and they'll obviously get better.
Yeah, for sure. Like Elliott, when he came out, just was really, really good at it. He'd done it for a while there, but he's not. Why he's the best player on the team? So why are you getting him blocking? Just give him the ball. That's what kind of the Penn State offense was. But he's willing to do it. He's definitely a 3-down back, and that's why he's this high. If he was a 2-down backer, then he wouldn't be the best player in the draft for me.
What about any weaknesses?
Yeah, he bounces out a little bit. He's always because he bounces off, and then he's looking for the hole again. So sometimes you need to take the 3 yards that the defense gives you, or what your line creates for you. You don't want to be bouncing off at line and going backwards and running around and doing all mad stuff. It doesn't always work.
Do you think it's fair to say you need to go a little bit more north and south?
Yeah, at times. And listen, he would forego the 2 yards in college to try and get the 50 yards. Sometimes in the NFL, just take the 2 yards and get down to second and 8, second and 7. That's one thing. But again, that just comes because he could do it. It's like why don't I? If I'm the best player and I'm going to run this game, I'm willing to go -2, -2, -2 to break a 50. Where in the NFL, your offensive coordinator would love you to go 2, 3, 4. Up to that kind of thing. He isn't amazing at breaking tackles. I mentioned before, like he's super elusive. But if
you're elusive, it's probably better than being great at breaking tackles.
Exactly, you can't have everything. I mean, it's very rare that someone is that elusive and amazing at getting tackles. Again, Sean McCoy, for example, is Lev Bell, both really, really good. Do they often power through guys? Maybe Bell does to an extent, but he's the best, one of the best in the league right now. So that's probably one where if he doesn't really break through tackles that much. But again, it wasn't his game. I think with a bit of refinement, get him running behind his offensive line a bit more, taking the holes. Something that Todd Gurley learned to do pretty quickly. Take what's there, then he'll be fine. He's going to be.
What about pro comparison?
He reminds me. I don't know if this is a good one or a bad one. He reminds me of Matt Forte, but a bit more explosive. And I think Matt Forte is really underrated. People don't talk about. I think he should be like in the Hall of Fame discussion. Maybe because I've seen him more, and you're the same. We've seen him play for Chicago for years, and he used to just run through Green Bay all the time, and he was all.
He was a proper 3-down back to catch the ball. As well.
That was probably his main strength. Was that it'd be 3rd and 7, and you think you've sacked the quarterback, and he just dumps it to Matt Forte, and he used to drive me insane. I think Matt Forte is really, really, really underrated. Barkley reminds me of a more explosive version.
Do you think he's got a higher ceiling than Forte?
Yeah, I think he does. He's just, again, more athletic, a bit more explosive. But
are we talking about a future Hall of Famer?
Again, it's so hard.
Everything goes right.
Yeah, listen, he's as good as I've seen come out, so why not? But I mean, some people compare him to like Barry Sanders and stuff like that. That high regard. I didn't really see him live. I've seen bits of Barry Sanders at the end of his career, but I mean, that's super, super praise, isn't it, to be that level? So people might say Matt Forte is like not a good comparison. He's kind of devalued. I think that's if you can get Matt Forte for 10 years, I think you'd take Matt Forte for 10 years. The good thing with running backs is now, he's going to be in the first round. You'll get him for 5 years. You can franchise him for the 6th year, and then you can kind of let him go. If he is washed up.
Yeah. That's the thing now, isn't it? Running backs it's very rare that they get that second big contract, whereas 15 years ago, that's what they lived for.
Yeah,
but the game's moved on so much.
Exactly. But you know what? If you get 5 years and then you franchise him, and if needs be, you can franchise him again. What Pittsburgh have done with Lev Bell, albeit he was second round pick, I think 3rd round. You're getting his best 7 years. If you get 7 years of his best player, and then you can just go see what he is, and then see if he might become someone like a Matt Forte who bounced around a bit, you know, ends up in New York for a season, or someone like a LaDainian Tomlinson who was absolutely fantastic, brilliant, one of the best I've ever seen, and ends up going to New York Jets just because they wear out. I think I think he belongs to be. If everything works out, he belongs in that discussion with the likes of Tomlinson, with Forte, and that's huge praise. Some people don't like it, and I just don't like him or don't get it. I don't get them. I don't know how you can see him and not rate him. I think he's absolutely unbelievable.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Who takes him?
Cleveland at 4. I think Cleveland take him at 4. I think they'll go quarterback 1. I think the Jets taking a quarterback at 3 now, and they don't trade up for that. The Giants, I think, trade out with someone for a quarterback, whether that's Denver, Arizona, Buffalo, and then I think they take him at 4.
So Cleveland to get the best quarterback
and the best running back.
And the best running back in the draft.
I think because they last year took the pass rusher number 1, Myles Garrett, that they might give up on Chubb. You know, they might forego another pass rusher for the dynamic running back. No, they just signed Carlos Hyde, for example, and they've got Duke Johnson. I get that. But I think if this guy falls to you, why not? Why not take the risk? Why not take him? I think you do.
Hey, you know, you could end up with Prescott and Elliott type of a thing. I know Prescott wasn't bought to be the leader, but 2 guys coming through, leading that locker room of the same age, coming out the same draft class, you could be sorted for 10 years, and it would be a strong move.
I think that's probably what will happen again. It depends how you value running backs. If John Dorsey decides that, you know what, well, we got Kareem Hunt in the 4th round in Kansas City, or 3rd round, and you might go, you know what, someone else have him, we'll take Chubb, and then we'll have Chubb and Garrett and all the best, you know, we'll come at you like that. So it depends on your philosophy, but I just think, if it was me, I agree, he should take quarterback 1, 2 and 3 should be quarterbacks, so you'd imagine. 4th, if he's the best player, and I'd take the best player.
Cool. Okay, well, there you go. Let us know your thoughts on all of Steve's draft prospects in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll see you next week for Cover 2 TV.